Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paribrajaka Astatar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Govinda Maharaj Thiru Bab Mahamahotsavatiti Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ju Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Nama Charja Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Go Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Govinda Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai Shri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vaman Par Ki Jai Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Om Vishnu Pad Vishva Varenya Srilesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Vimalabhadut Maharaj Ki Jai Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai Seva Vrinda Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Tirobhab Mahamahotsavatiti Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanande Hare Krishna. So, just recently, there was the appearance day of Ramachandra, and the Navadip Dham Mahatmyam of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives some special insight into these pastimes in a relatively brief section, but getting to the heart of the matter, in which Ramachandra reveals to Sita his future appearance as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and tells in a summary form about how they will appear at that time. But he draws attention to Sambhog and Vipralamba. And the Sambhog meaning the pastimes of union and being together, the joy of that. And Vipralamba, the pastimes of separation. They're also pastimes and produce a different type of joy. So conventional thinking would be that, well, when you're together, then that's the happy time, and that's the sad time. We don't want that. But consistent with the appearance of Mahaprabhu and the emphasis of our Guru Varga and the Rupanuga line, Ramachandra is saying, but the type of joy experienced in separation, he said, will be 10 million times greater. And he's saying, because after separation, when union comes again, it's enhanced. It produces it exceeds what it was previously. So Sambhog and Vipralamba, union, and one is separation. And then Srila Gurudev, he titled the Samadhi of Srila Guru Maharaj, Union in Separation. And this phrase very much captured the Srila Guru Maharaj's heart, mind, soul, union in separation. And he's saying, and that is the real test of dedication, devotion, and even extended to discipleship, to culture, union and separation through divine remembrance. Because at the time of being together, one is overwhelmed by the focus on those unique circumstances. So it's more narrow in its focus in an analytical sense. Whereas he said, and separation, in Guru Maharaj's words again, he said, is more spacious, includes everything. Just as we see someone who's feeling separation from the beloved, if they see some of the paraphernalia of the beloved, it brings about remembrance of them and touches their heart. So the Tirubhav, or the observance of is a separation observance. Right? Most of the lives the disciples will not spend in the company of their guru. The vast amount of their lives will be spent in separation. So there's the utmost necessity of being able to cultivate union and separation. And as applied to the devotees, as to Krishna, to the devotees, tasmai deyam tato grajam sa pujo cha yata yaham. But Krishna is saying, whatever is applicable to me is equally applicable to my devotees. We know that when Parvati asked Shiva, what is the highest worship? Because some people say Shiva, some people say Vishnu, Brahma, Kali, Durga, and so many are offered up as being the supreme type of worship. And she was surprised to hear him say, Aradhananam sarveshnam, Vishnu Aradhanam Param, worship, that's higher, but Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarjanam. But even more worshipable is what is dear to him. So when she heard the first, Aradhananam Sarvesham, Vishnu Aradhanam, the worship of, that is the highest. And she's saying, but you are my worshipable Lord. And you're telling me there's something higher. And he said, no, Tasmat Param, my dear Devi, Tadiyanam Samarjanam, to worship what is most dear to the Lord. That is the highest type of worship. Then she was happy. Oh, and then I'm worshiping you, and Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, you're very dear to the Lord. Then I'm happy. But within that statement, also, Yadamiyam Mahima Sri Bhagavatam Katayam Pratipatam Anubhutam Apya Labdavideya Tadakila Rasam Murti Shamalila Avalambam Madhur Rasadi Sri Radha Parapadmam Prapadye. Although ostensibly her holy name is not mentioned within the pages of the Bhagavatam, every verse, every passage, every step of the way is meant to take us in one particular direction, the service of her holy lotus feet. Radha Dasyam. Kim Bhagavata Dharma na parayana nirupita priya paramahansanam tadeva hyachuta priya. Alluded to by Narada to Vyas. If you want to describe Krishna conception proper, you have to include Krishna's beloved. Dharma projita kaita botra paramo nirmat saranam satam. Nirmat sarja. We cannot be envious or dismissive of Krishna's devotees because it is indirectly to envy or dismiss the supreme devotee of Krishna, Srimati Radharani. And we take it that our Guru Varga are her extensions, surrogates, her next nearest representation to us. So, in the case of His Divine Grace, Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj, he tells of his coming to the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj. As we understand, whatever the details may be, these are their divine pastimes. They are eternally connected. But he told of his happy life in Bamanpur, and we say that Bamanpur really means Brahmanpur, like the city where everyone is a Brahmin. Yeah, everyone. So that means your mother, your father, your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, your neighbors. It's all Brahmins. That is the soil that His Divine Grace sprung out of. And there and in the surrounding areas, he says his life was very happy, extremely happy. Right? Because often when someone describes how they come to, Krishna consciousness or the Krishna consciousness movement, they'll tell some horrific things, how things were not going well. Or they're frustrated. Prabhupada said and Bhagavad Gita purport, when one realizes that material existence is a constant source of perplexity at every step, and I add to that, a never-ending series of humiliations, then one may understand the urgency of approaching the lotus feet of Sri Guru. But Gurudev, on the contrary, is saying how happy he was, his happy life there. And then Srila Guru Maharaj sent one of his representatives. He is going town to town, village to village, preaching on behalf of the fledgling, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And I never forget this, it was in Srila Gurudev's room in East London, right? Our East London Mott, that's Green Street, right? Yeah. And he's there, and all the servitors are preparing for his next leg of his next journey on his world tour. And he said, I was so happy there. He said, I loved everyone and everyone loved me. Not only the people, he said, the trees, the birds, the insects, the whole animation. He said, even the rickshawallas. They were like, after the birds. He's saying how extreme his embrace, loving embrace was for everyone there of him. And he said, and then Guru Maharaj's representative came. He said, talking this nonsense. Your mother is nothing, your father is nothing, this world is nothing, it will all vanish, they will vanish, it will vanish, you have to give it up. The way he said that was with his classic ironic humor. He said, talking this nonsense. But then he said something very interesting. He said, he wanted to dismiss that. He said, but I could not. It touched my heart. And I thought, what he's saying is true. However painful it might be, or awkward, socially, family, etc., I couldn't deny the truth of what he was saying. So Guru Maharaj once described such transactions as a direct hit and a soft sentiment. So it was like a direct hit in the heart of Srila Gurudev. And that representative of Srila Guru Maharaj took him to the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and Navadvip. They swam across the Ganga. And when they arrived we're talking about Ramachandra. Gurudev said, I had some familiarity from Ramayana and Mahabharata about what the ashram of a guru might be like. And so when he saw the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and its present state of manifestation, there was the devotee noticed some apprehension on his part. And he said, it may be, like a hut, a small mat. He said, but there's a very big sadhu inside. He's like, oh, okay. And when presented to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj has a way of testing. So he said, how long you'll stay? And Gurudev was offended. How long I will stay? I've come. That means forever. Right? We know that his mother, father, they had prayed to Shiva for a son, and some divine inspiration came to them that, yes, you'll get a son, but he must take sannyas at 17. They thought, oh, in Bengal there's something they call Shiva sannyas, where at 17, 18, someone takes sannyas for 2 weeks. So they thought, okay, we're okay with that. Gurudev said, they did not know it would be forever. So Gurudev said, how long you'll stay? How long? I'm here forever. When I offer myself to you, that's it, it's forever. Then Gurudev said, oh, good. Then let me tell you the rules, right? And let me know if you can follow them. And you think, oh, now Guru Maharaj is going to tell him so many rules. Here's the rule, that you will follow what I say and not listen to your own mind. That's the rule. And again, Gurudev with his characteristic humor, he said, I was young, so I said yes. Said, I didn't know, like, in the future, at times how difficult that might be, but I gave my word. Yes, I will follow what you say and not listen to my own mind. And that's why, connecting that, we know when Srila Gurudev, there's any occasion like this or other, he always, Guru Maharaj would have him begin the function by singing this song. E mana durmati sangsara bitori, podia achino ami. It says, a wicked mind brought me into this world, O Lord, but one of your pure and elevated devotees has come to bring me out. So that, he whoops. Yeah. Just if I have to revisit this. So it always reminds me of that, this transaction between he and Srila Guru Maharaj. So, and since that time, so he's 17, and there are many senior servitors at the Mat. But as we say in the pranam, Gurva Bhista Supurakam Guru Ganai Ashisha Shambhushitam, composed by Srila Guru Maharaj, he's saying, not only did he fulfill all the desires of his Guru Maharaj, namely himself, he's saying, but the Guru Gan, so there's Guru, and then there's the Guru group, the Guru section, that means Guru Maharaj's godbrothers, they're also to be seen as Guru. Guru Ganai Ashisha Shambhushitam, he's also decorated, ornamented with their blessings. So from the very beginning, Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was then, Gurudev was then known as Gorendu Brahmachari. He brought him for special attention from Srila Guru Maharaj. he observed him, examined him, and thought, the unparalleled wealth of Srila Guru Maharaj and the Rupa Nuga line, now we have the fit recipient of that wealth. Here's the fit person for what you have to give, to whom you shall give everything. And so that's one godbrother, Srila Krishna's Das Babaji Maharaj. We know also that the Srila Keshava Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj, he, like Madhava Maharaj, Srila Madhava Maharaj, and so many others, they had so many men, so many resources to do seva. But Keshava Maharaj remarked about Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said, we who have so many resources, there are certain things that we're unable to do or to achieve. But he has so little resources, because Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, relatively small at the time, he said, he can do those things that we only wish we could do. He said, so he has Satya Sankalpa. It's like the mystic power, that whatever he will conceive and service, it will be realized. So coming from Srila Keshava Maharaj, that's a very high compliment. And from Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, the super servitor of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and founder of Sri Amritala. When Guru Maharaj was unable to travel and go to like village preaching, Srila Gurudev would arrange the programs and bring a Keshava Maharaj or a Jajabar Maharaj, other Maharajas. So they got to know him very well. And once with Srila Goswami Maharaj, they're looking at a picture of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and there's a huge program in Mayapur. And to that program, they invited the governor of West Bengal. So that was really a big deal. Like, he's the representative of the English government there. Remember, this is before independence. So they've got the governor of West Bengal in attendance. And you see in the picture, Srila Saraswati Thakur, and that governor, John Anderson, he's garlanded, and there is Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, no garland. And just looking at the picture, Srila Govinda Maharaj says, oh, I know why you're not wearing a garland. And Goswami says, what do you mean? Everyone who should have a garland, the Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur is garlanded, our guest of honor, the VIP, he's garlanded. He said, no, but you would be garlanded. I know they would garland you. He said, but the garland maker, there was some logistics problem. And so you were garlanded, and actually you took your garland and you garlanded the governor of West Bengal. And that's why you were without a garland. And with that, Goswami Maharaj said, you have surpassed Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. And what he means is, one of the innumerable specialties of Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, he finds, especially in the 10th canto, the Sarartha Darshini Tika, his commentary in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, little things that appear to be relatively insignificant details, Chakrabarti Thakur can mine Siddhantic gems from them. Just like saying, the sun rose in the eastern direction, then the moon rose in the eastern direction. Then he'll give a Madhura Rasa interpretation of what that means. Just the moon rose in the eastern direction. So he said, you've surpassed Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. And it also says, chintya samasta veda nipanam, how he basically it's saying he knows everything, but here it's interesting, it says conceivable and inconceivable. All these things are known to him. So that Goswami Maharaj, one of his mat, Imli Tala, we know that is where Mahaprabhu sat beneath the Imli tree and recalled his decision to descend as Krishna, to descend as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That's another subject matter that we deal with on the Brajamandal Parikrama. But, so there's some question as to when that was, chronologically. So Srila Gurudev, in service to Guru Maharaj and the Math, he would take a group of pilgrims to Badrinath yearly. And so that means they go through Vrindavan, go up to Badrinath, come back down. And he's still very young at the time. So Supurakam Guru, he's fulfilling the desires of his Guru Maharaj. So at that Imli Talamat of Goswami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj had composed a verse in which he encrypted the date that Mahaprabhu sat beneath the Imli tree, the year. Right? But it's encrypted, and you have to know the method of deciphering that. So these godbrothers, they're reading the sloka, and they're all puzzled to try and understand what is being said there. Right? And the young Gorindu Brahmachari, disciple of Guru, he comes through on his way to and fro Badrinath, and he says, they're going, we can't understand what Sridhar, it's confusing. Well, I'm not confused. No, I mean, we can't decipher what he's saying. I can. Oh, you're just a boy. And then he explains to them the date. There's a system for dating things. Like Ratna can mean, 5 or 9. Ratna. Ishu. Veda can mean 3 or 4, depending on the context. Like there's Chari Veda, Tri Veda, Chari Veda, 4 Veda, Isha. So, in this case, that means 5, like the 5 eyes, Shiva. So, Ratna, Navaratna, 9. So it says, Ratneshu Vedanite as the date, which would mean 9, 5, 4. Right? 954. But what you have to know is, so that's the method for deciphering. So Ratna 9, 5, Veda 4. But then you must reverse it. Right? So it's 459. In the year 459 of that calendar, that is when Mahaprabhu came there. And so you have to imagine, he's a teenager practically, and he's explaining this to them. Then they can understand something about the qualifications of Gorindu Brahmachari, who will later become Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaja. And so again, in service to the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, as we've seen, it's a practice that's maintained until today at the Mat. When the Gaur Purnima time comes, there's village collection. They collect potatoes, collect rice, and various ingredients for the festival, the feast. So he went to one town where there's always in every town some man who's the wealthiest one. He's kind of like the head there locally, and if people are in need, they approach that person for a little assistance. But in this particular village, that man was a notorious miser. And so when Srila Gurudev came for collection, the local boys, knowing the miserly nature of that man, they started taunting him and making fun of him and saying, "You're not going to get anything from it. You'll be lucky to get, a sack of rice, a half a sack of rice." And Govinda said, I will leave with a cartload. And they're all thinking, oh, this we've got to see. They want to see him humiliated by getting nothing or next to nothing from that man. So then they go, and then they see that a cartload of rice, it's being loaded to the maximum. And he's leaving with the cartload that he said he would leave. And they're all upset. And they approach that man and they say, we don't understand this. When we ask you for, you give next to nothing. And now he's leaving with a cartload of rice. How can we understand that? And that man said, he filled my heart with some supernatural joy. I would have given more. So Srila Govinda Maharaj's capacity to charm with his love and affection, and also his unparalleled shastric representation. Sometimes, remember, when Guru Maharaj is composing, whether it be Prema Dhamma Stotram or other things, Gurudev is there when called upon to suggest a word, an alternate word, and in the compositions of Srila Guru Maharaj himself. But Guru Maharaj is also discovering his personality. And sometimes seeing, because Srila Govinda Maharaj is serving 24 hours a day, sometimes when Srila Guru Maharaj is giving Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, he sees that Govinda Maharaj is nodding in the corner. And so that's disturbing Guru Maharaj. So at one point he's saying, what did I just say? What was the point that I made? And then Govinda Maharaj would explain exactly what Srila Guru Maharaj was saying perfectly. Then Guru Maharaj is like, oh. So he's also discovering different aspects about him. And he's always wanting, of course, for Srila Guru Maharaj to be healthy at different times in Srila Guru Maharaj's life. His health was not good. So much so that he declared Srila Govinda Maharaj his successor at a young age, thinking that Guru Maharaj could leave the world at any time. You know, at one point when Guru Maharaj thought he was dying, Srila Gurudev was bathing and praying to Shiva for some medicine from Guru Maharaj, and he heard Kali Phos. At the time he was unacquainted with homeopathic medicine, searched, found that medicine, and Guru Maharaj said, at a time when I was almost dying, he suddenly came with medicine, and that medicine extended my life. He said, so some siddhi he possesses. Siddhi means mystic power. So, and I've mentioned that once, while studying the Chaitanyastakam of Srila Rupa Goswami, I wanted some clarification. Guru Maharaj was giving the explanation, still I needed some further clarification. So I came to Srila Gurudev, if he could help me understand some particular part, and very wonderfully, beautifully, he explained that. And as I was leaving, I said, Maharaj, when did you study this? And he said, oh, I've never studied it. And I was a little perplexed. He saw my, I think, but you're explaining to me wonderfully, with great depth and realization and understanding what is given here, and by heart. And he said, I am Guru Maharaj's servitor. Those words alone are so beautiful. He said, I am Srila Guru Maharaj's servitor. Meaning, he did everything. Those who know him in his Acharya Leela may not have seen when in his early years when he did everything, because later he deputed seva to different servitors. But when he was younger, he cleaned the room, the bathroom, he washed the clothes, he did everything. So he said, so when Guru Maharaj goes to bathe, I'm in the room brooming and collecting his clothes for washing, and I hear Guru Maharaj with his lota, he's pouring the water, but he's chanting the Chaitanyastakam of Rupa Goswami. Raso Dhamma Kamarbura Madhura Dhamojvala Tanur Jati Nam Utanksha Tarani Koti Vidyoti Basana Hiranyanam Lakshmi Varana Biva Angikarucha Sachaitanya Chaitanya Dishor Yashati Badam. So in its essence, Guru Maharaj is bathing in the Chaitanyastakam of Rupa Goswami. Gurudev is cleaning there. And what is in the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj is being transferred to the heart of the servitor. Gurudev liked to say, quote, Tene Brahma Hrida, the first sloka of the Bhagavatam, that it is a heart-to-heart transaction. It is not data transfer. It is not gyan or knowledge or information, but heart-to-heart. That's why the mantra has to be received from the Sadguru. It's not the letters of the mantra or the words of the mantra, but it is the spirit with which the mantra is imparted. So, from the heart, due to his unalloyed, unconditional service of the holy lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, the full wealth in the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj is being transferred to him in that way. And that Srila Govinda Maharaj sat beneath the Shikshastakam sloka of Mahaprabhu, Trinadapi Sunichena Tororapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, was always above his head. We recall in Chaitanya Charitamritam that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's saying, you should string this like a garland and wear it around your neck like a garland. This sloka of Mahaprabhu. Being humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, giving all honor and respect to others, expecting none for yourself. In this way you'll be able to go on with Krishna Kirtan. He's saying, string it and wear it like a garland constantly. So once I asked Srila Gurudev, I said, Maharaj, when did you seem to have some special connection with this particular verse? When did this come to you in that special way? And he said, oh, Maharaj, out of desperation, nothing else works. Like having tried everything else, exhausting all other possibilities, at last taking shelter of Trinat, being humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. And Gurudev said further, what does it mean, more tolerant than a tree? Tolerating that which is intolerable. Right? Because if you can tolerate something that's relatively, hard to tolerate, that's another thing. That's also good. But he said, tolerating what is intolerable, that makes some more of a fine point. What is utterly intolerable to you, tolerating that. And he said, and showing respect, he said, for someone who deserves no respect, to treat them respectfully. To treat respectable people, that's within the social norm, he's saying. But to treat with respect to someone who does not deserve it. And he sort of, you could say, succinctly expressed this once, he said, "My religion is finding fault with myself, right? Not with others. My religion is finding fault with myself." And in terms of his showing respect, once when he was offering some praise to me for service in relation to you could say, the publications of the books of Srila Guru Maharaj, I was a little uncomfortable, and we're talking privately, and I said, basically, like, Maharaj, I appreciate it on one level, but maybe it's not good for me to hear the thing. And he was offended, and he said, "This is from my heart." He said, "I am practicing my religion." What is his religion? Sama trinarupi sunichena turopi sahisnana amanina manadena. He said, "This is not empty flattery or meaning, but from my heart I'm telling you these things, and I'm practicing my religion." And he said, "And you may not understand or be able to see from your present position." He said, "But I know the zone of Guru Maharaj, and by service to his holy lotus feet, where everyone will come, and I'm celebrating that, and I can see that, and I'm celebrating that." As he saw all of his disciples, he said, as extension or vaibhav of Srila Guru Maharaj, as if Guru Maharaj had expanded in so many to assist him in that service. And he said, when someone serves the holy lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, I become their slave. It's like a little painful for us to hear that, but we can understand. He's saying, if they're serving the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj, then I become their slave. So as Guru Maharaj told us, quoting one verse, it is very rare in this world to find a perfect guru, but it is equally, if not more rare, to find the perfect disciple. So in his divine grace, Srila Bhakti Sudhir Dev-Goswami Maharaj, we find that perfect guru, and in his divine grace, Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj, we find the perfect disciple of the perfect guru. And Srila Gurudev felt as the president Sevite Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, his mission was to spread the glories of his Guru Maharaj, and he accepted so many assistant servitors to that end, to promote the glories of Srila Guru Maharaj and the unique wealth of Srila Guru Maharaj expressed in his compositions and conceptions, that unique wealth that distinguishes Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj, Tirubhav Mahamahotavati Ki Jai. Bhakti Lalita, would you like to say?
One thing our Srila Gurudev said in one of his talks, that the Vaishnavas, the pure Vaishnavas, they are not subject to birth and death and old age and disease. And their appearance is like the sunrise, their disappearance is like the sunset, and their appearance in this world brings benediction to everyone who comes in contact with them. And their disappearance also is beneficial for the disciples, the followers, the devotees, those who are in touch with that pure devotee. And he said before departing, the pure Vaishnava will deposit goodwill and blessings into the environment. And when the devotees remember and praise that pure devotee, they'll take those blessings that have been deposited. They're still available for collection. And this way, everyone benefits from even the disappearance, what to speak of the appearance. So the pure Vaishnava casts their glance into the environment, depositing it for everyone, and we collect that by remembering them and glorifying them and going on with faith in their service. So that brings much hope that even in such a dreadful time of disappearance, our hearts are plunged into darkness, and the pain of separation is there, and we feel so bereft and orphaned. But really, it's only seemingly the external understanding of separation. But that is when our disciplehood, our allegiance, our faith is put to the test, whether we are real disciples, whether we will stand in separation. If we are real, we will come through that ultimate test of the departure of the Guru, of the pure devotee. And we will continue to extract those blessings that have been deposited for us. And one thing I remember feeling all along in my 20-something years of staying and serving Srila Gurudev, that we're doing so many wrong things and we're so unqualified and imperfect and fallen. And he is, by his potency and power, he is compensating for all of us, making things right, constantly setting things right, excusing us, forgiving us, overlooking our shortcomings and faults. And constantly this power of compensation was there for us. And I remember thinking that this, when he withdraws, so will this power withdraw. That we will have to grow up and be a little bit better and try to be, if at all possible, more qualified, more skilled in our service. In this way, having to not rely on this power of compensation. And that was just what we found when he left this world. So did that compensating power. And soon we see we're fully responsible and liable for everything we do, we say. Our ineptness, our disqualifications, we're having to grapple with them. And I thought how something I foresaw and then felt and then later read by Srila Gurudev. He explained that the Guru and the pure devotees, they will compensate for the disciples' shortcomings. And that power will withdraw at the time of their disappearance. So he gave us everything we needed to grow, to become qualified, to receive his grace, and that is still available to us, still deposited for us. We're just by continuing service and separation and service to his devotees, we are still in contact with that merciful deposited grace. But going on, having to be a little more responsible, a little more grown up, and a little more attentive in our service and our behavior, and being responsible. And that's something I found interesting and something that played out and is still it's relevant now. And we saw how previously our lives were so easy and carefree with him, but now we have to be a little more careful in our service and separation. And we found so much disturbance came, so many changes have occurred, and he said that would happen. He said, everything will change after my departure. You will see for yourself. And despite these changes, things out of our control, we're going on the best we can with those who inspire us, uplift us, trying to be authentic in our service to him, and finding him there, and finding his grace still there for us. And I think we're, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj has said, make the best of a bad bargain. We are doing that in his separation. Doing the best we can, continuing and remaining faithful, and having gone through test after test, showing ourselves as still here and still trying to serve, still a disciple. And I think he would be happy with us, happy with that. And of course, we can do always better and serve more and just reflect on everything he's given us and going on by his grace in his separation. And this day is always something I personally relive, because I was there on his disappearance day, and the night before was showing signs that this was his last night, that he was allowing everyone to come, sit with him. He was so ethereal and still joking, but on oxygen, and hardly his voice was giving any sound, and speaking very softly and saying some very cryptic things. And one of his servitors was sitting next to him, trying to get him to come to Thailand on his last night, saying, we have tickets, everything's ready, let's go. And Gurudev responded to that servitor that you have not grown up. And just left with that. And then his daughter came to sit and see him, and other friends, and so many of us were there. Avadut Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj, Madhusudan Maharaj, Ashram Maharaj, Janardhan Maharaj maybe. So many of his principal representatives and devotees were there, and lifting him. He couldn't walk anymore, and lifting him from the chair to the bed, and I remember thinking, how long can I sit here? And this is very painful to see. And I tried to escape, going to my room. It was late in the evening, and I felt in my heart, this is his last evening. And I tried to sneak out, and my sari got caught on the heater near his chair, and it ripped as I was walking out the door. And I looked back and I saw him looking at me like this. His daughter was sitting in front of him, and he was looking like this and looking like this and looking like. So she turned back and said, "Come back. You sit down. Like, this is it. This is his last evening." That next morning, it was Ekadashi, like we followed yesterday. And Dwadashi morning, early morning, 4 something, maybe 4:10, 4:15, he left the world, and fully conscious. And that early morning, refusing his medicine, refusing any kind of intervention of breathing apparatus. He didn't want anything, and he just withdrew himself. And he was always very serious about auspicious times, the Panjika, what time for departing this world would be auspicious, and in which place. He felt Calcutta was a very auspicious place to leave. Previous Vaishnavas who left the world in Calcutta, he felt they were very fortunate. The Ganga's there, Gaura Lila passed through there, and Saraswati Thakur left the world there, and he left in his Dum Dum Park veranda at the Brahma Muhurta hour of Dwadashi. And such painful but glorious experience we saw when the sun setting in his pastimes on this earth. So much benediction came, Pushpa Brishti came after giving samadhi to Srila Gurudev. It was sunning and raining, tiny little raindrops, and just feeling like this was something out of Chaitanya Charitamrita pastimes that we witnessed, seeing him depart the world. So, sharing, a little oversharing at this time, but I'll end here just saying that we are still living in his grace. That grace is deposited for us, but at the same time we have to be a little more grown up and responsible for ourselves and our service, and do good with what we have, and pray for descending grace to continue. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Tirobhav Maha Utsav Titi ki jai.
We have the flowers. Hare Krishna. Guru Abhishta Supurakam Guru Ganai Ashisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya
Chintya Chintya
Samasta
Samasta
Veda
Veda
Nipunam
Nipunam
Sri Rupa
Shri Rupam
Hanta
Kanta
Anugam
Angam
Govinda
Govinda
Abhidam
Avidam
Ujvalam
Usvalam
Bharatanum
Bharatanum
Bhakti
Bhakti
Anvitam
Anvitam
Sundaram
Sundaram
Vande
Vande
Vishwa
Vishwa
Gurun
Gurun
Chitya
Chaitanya
Bhagavat
Bhagavat
Premno
Premno
Ki
Ki
Bija
Bija
Pradam
Pradam
Dev-Goswami Mahamahotavati Ki
Ja Jayani Ope Mahamana Karuna
Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Pure Bhav Mahamahotavati Ki
Jai.
Srila Govinda Maharaj Pure Bhav Mahamahotavati Ki
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Bhakti Srila Bhakti Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai
Jai.
Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai
Jai.
Jai Sapari Bharshi Sri Guru Gandhar Govinda Sundar Ji Ki Jai Jai Sapari Bharshi Sri Guru Radha Govinda Sundar Ji Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Ravinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai Shri Rangpar Ki Jai Shri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai Ganga Devi Dhumana Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Om Vishnu Pad Vishwavarina Srila Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Bhakti Vimala Guru Maharaj Ki Jai Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai Seva Vrinda Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Pure Bhav Mahamahotavati Ki Jai Inhai Go Premanande
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Дайте микрофон, дайте Махараджу.
Jai Kalindi Priyanaji Sham. Oh, Hare Krishna. Dhananjaya and Chaitanya-moy Dandavat. Sachi Sutadas and Crimea Dandavat. Hare Krishna, who's here? Bhagavan Dasru Dandavat. Rasananda Prabhu Dandavat. That looks like Dandi Maharaj Dandavat. Priyanana. Oh, on the other side of the screen, Dandavat. Sulakshan is here doing Chinese translation. Jivana Didi and Krasnodar Dandavat. Anjali in Kaselni, I think. Dandavat. And Abhazia Srila Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj Dandavat. Lakshmana Didi Dandavat. Dharani Sundari Dandavat. Seva Rupa Didi in South Africa Dandavat. Asha Purna Dandavat. I think she's reached Thailand, right? Suresh Krishna Prabhu Dandavat. Subhashini Didi in Ireland Dandavat. Brajalatika Didi in Ors Dandavat. Ajita and Kaselni Dandavat. Pavel Brun Prabhu in Moscow Dandavat. Brinda Devi Dandavat in Nizhny Novgorod. Odaran Prabhu Dandavat. Achyutananda in Yaroslavl Dandavat. Malini Didi in Orsk Dandavat. Praneshwari Didi doing the Spanish translation Dandavat. Paramananda Prabhu still in Japan Dandavat. Tonks Bhakta Vrinda the Kadashi Dandavat. Lakshmi Priya Didi Dandavat. Nalina Nayana Didi in China Dandavat. Leela Sundar Prabhu Dandavat. Nadia Priya Didi in Ukraine Dandavat. Anjali Didi Dandavat. Nalina Nayana another Dandavat. Ram Sundar Prabhu Dandavat. Indira Devi Nasi Dandavat. Jamuna Didi Dandavat. Vila Govinda Bhaktivinoda Dandavat. Anjali Dandavat. Krishna Kanta Didi Krishna Kanta Prabhu or Dandavat. No, there's Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj. Had I known he was here, I would have asked him to speak. Chandra Kanti Didi and Sudevi Dandavat. Gaur Chandra Prabhu Dandavat. Is that everyone? All right. Vanchakalpa Dhruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Tiro Bhav Mahamahotavati Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo.